So in this very fast review of the Royal Rumble event, I'm going to go over each of the 4 matches that happen in the order that they happen and just my thoughts on each of them. 2 of them being the Royal Rumble matches for both the men's and women's. We had a ladder match for the WWE Championship and a match for the WWE Tag Team Champion. So the first match we had was the Women's Royal Rumble match. So this match actually started off pretty good with number 1 and number 2 being Io Sky and Liv Morgan. And I personally feel like the women's match delivered in some points, but at the end, it kind of just felt predictable or just wasn't to the anticipation that we thought it would be. Pretty much a lot of the people in the match were just normal members of the women's roster, and nothing exciting really happened during the match. However, I would say the best part of the match was Alexa Bliss finally returning to the WWE after I think 2 years of being gone, after having a kid, and I think there was injury involved or something like that. But she got probably the biggest pop of the night when she finally returned with her little doll and everything. I was so happy for her, and let's see what goes on with her on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or wherever she's going to be at. And towards the second half of the Royal Rumble match, we had some pretty cool appearances by both people we didn't expect as well as some NXT superstars. We had Jordynne Grace, we had WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, we had Lash Legend, we had Julia, Stephanie Vauquier, we even had Jada Parker appear for the first time in the Rumble match, as well as Roxanne Perez, who broke the record for longest time in the Women's Rumble match. And then finally at number 27, we finally saw the return of Charlotte Flair, who eventually ended up winning the match, which was highly expected. For some reason over on YouTube, people are upset about this, and there's actually more dislikes than likes to this event. But unfortunately, people are just going to be mad at everything nowadays. Now, I'm cool with this. I wasn't having a problem with Charlotte Flair winning the match because I'm actually looking forward to whatever match she ends up having at WrestleMania, whether that be her versus Tiffany Stratton or a rematch from WrestleMania 39 with her and Rhea Ripley. So we'll just see what happens when Vegas comes around. But then number 30 showed up. And with number 30, everybody was excited. Everybody thought it was Jade Cargill, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, but it was Nikki Bella. Now, that's a cool surprise. Nikki Bella hasn't been on TV in WWE in a while, but to be number 30, I was kind of just like, that kind of sucked. Because everybody was expecting Jade to come back and attack Bianca, including myself. We thought that Becky Lynch would return since she's on the Raw commercial, and everybody's been saying AJ Lee's going to come back for God knows how long. And these Royal Rumble matches are always fun, but I feel like this one for the women's was kind of under-delivered versus what was last year. I feel like last year's was much better. So the second match was the Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY for the WWE Tag Team Championships with a 2 out of 3 fall stipulation. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this was actually my bathroom break. I didn't really pay much attention to this match, and I don't really have any intent to do so or look back at it, but as predicted, DIY did win this match, but it was pretty cool to see the Street Profits come back and attack DIY, so that way they were holding up the tag team titles. I would love to see the Street Profits as tag team champions again. Change it up a little bit. Let me know what you think about that down below. Now, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes had their WWE Championship match in a ladder match, and this was probably the most brutal match of the night. And everybody's been saying for the longest that Cody Rhodes needs to turn heel. He's turning into Homelander. He's like just becoming more aggressive and more brutal in his attacks, and this match definitely solidifies that. The amount of times they both threw each other through ladders, and even that last Alabama slam through the ladder for Kevin Owens, like even after the match was done and Cody Rhodes retained, Kevin Owens was still upside down in that head position, bleeding like crazy. Now, I know it's all work and it's all for the show, but yo, they making Cody look like he's gonna turn on everybody. And at one point, even Sami Zayn showed up to check up on the two of them, but I feel like next week, Sami Zayn's gonna go to Cody and say, yo, you changed, bro. In terms of the match itself, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really brutal match, and it's what Cody Rhodes needs to really show that he deserves to be champion, and he's just not the person that everybody just cheers and is just there just because. Like, he's showing that he is gonna kick somebody's ass. And then finally, we have the Men's Royal Rumble match as the main event of the show. And this match definitely delivered, especially with its twist of events. As wrestling fans, we're expected that things might happen out of nowhere, or things that we didn't expect to happen do happen. But if there's any definition of that here last night, this is the match to show it. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about the results of this show, but just enjoy it, man. Like, why are people upset? Just enjoy it and see what happens. Now, to start things off, number 1 and number 2 were Rey Mysterio and Penta. After Rey Mysterio came out, I assumed that Dominic Mysterio was going to be the second person, but when Penta came out, I was like, this is going to be amazing, and it was. Even with that little scandal where apparently Penta touched both feet on the floor before he was supposed to. And after that, things seemed pretty normal up until Tozawa got assaulted by Carmelo Hayes before he even got into the ring. And at that point, they took Tozawa back, and all of a sudden, Triple H is like, yo, I show speed. Go into the Rumble as Tozawa's replacement. And holy crap, that was probably the funniest thing of the freaking night. This man got speared into the freaking Shadow Realm and thrown over the table by Otis, even getting a pretty bad cut in the process. I'm not going to show that here, but You can look it up online. And shout out to Braun Breaker for keeping it safe for show Speed, even though probably Speed was just shocked probably, or just didn't know how brutal it was going to be. But Braun Breaker knows his stuff. Jacob Fatu put on one hell of a performance, eliminating 4 people in the Rumble match, and he was probably one of the fan favorites that everybody loved to see. And then halfway through into the match, we got our surprise of say his name, man. Joe Hendry in the Royal Rumble match by popular demand. He didn't really last too long, but it was nice to see him in the Rumble match, seeing the crowd just pop for him, singing his song, and just the TNA champion being in the Rumble match was amazing to see. And then right after was number 16, our tribal chief Roman Reigns, which I'm very surprised he was number 16. Usually the bigger stars are in the 20s, but he was number 16. He was lasting a while, because I really thought he was going to be like number 25 or 26 or something, because you know how that works. We saw the return of AJ Styles at number 21, which I was very happy about because his knee injury seemed very serious. So for him to finally come back and be able to compete at the Rumble made me very happy. And then once the 20s started coming in, we had CM Punk, we had Seth Rollins, we had John Cena. But then the main question became, who's going to be number 30? And as much as we were so excited to see who number 30 was, all of a sudden it's freaking Logan Paul. And I was so freaking pissed. I put it on TikTok. I was mad. All you hear is the Ayo, and I'm just like even after number 30, I was staring at the screen hoping that some random ass countdown came through for number 31 so The Rock could literally just like overtake what the hell we just saw. And Logan Paul pissed me off even more because he's the one that eliminated my prediction of CM Punk. But now we got to talk about that fight that happened outside of the ring after everybody got eliminated, because we had Roman Reigns getting curb stomped by Seth Rollins with 2 feet, not just one. We had CM Punk and Seth Rollins just fighting it out non-stop outside of the ring, like they were ready to rip each other to freaking shreds. Apparently Drew McIntyre was pissed off with the way that he got eliminated by LA Knight, which I think is personally a work, but they're trying to make it seem like Drew is just pissed off with backstage. But once CM Punk was eliminated, I had a feeling John Cena was going to win, but with the plot twist of a century, they made Jey Uso win the Rumble, and I was not expecting that. I don't think anybody in the world was expecting that. I had a feeling Jey Uso was going to help put Cena over for the match with that attitude adjustment, but the fact that they let Jey Uso win and now he is main eventing WrestleMania and probably facing either Gunther or Cody, he absolutely deserves it. And I don't care what anybody says online, Jey Uso worked his ass off to get where he is, and I hope he goes far. So definitely the men's Royal Rumble match delivered. I'm happy with how it went. It had a lot of twists and turns and emotions, but after processing it for a little less than 24 hours, I'm cool with how everything went.